Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Jeff Duncan had his column at NOLA.com on Sunday that caught a lot of people off guard. And to his credit, Jeff said it was one of the hardest columns he's had to write, in large part because he was talking about a new coach for the Saints when the Saints have a coach. And a coach who, by all accounts, is a good guy in Dennis Allen, who's liked and respected by his players, the organization, the fans, all that sort of stuff. So it is awkward sometimes when you're talking about replacing a guy or firing a coach or something like that when he has a job. And I can respect that from a guy who's very professional in the way Jeff does things, not wanting to put that out there. But at the same time, it's becoming an unavoidable conversation about Sean Payton, who continues to insist he's going to coach again next year. And when Jeff has gotten information, like he shared with us earlier in the show, that Sean Payton has been evaluating rosters, including the Saints roster. The Saints have Sean Payton's rights for the next 2 years. Mickey Loomis is not likely to let Sean Payton coach against the Saints, meaning in the division at potentially Carolina, although Steve Wilks is doing a great job and might be in line to get that job. But I'll say this. I had not really considered the possibility of Sean Payton coming back to the Saints. At no point did I consider that possibility. But the reason isn't because I thought he wouldn't come or the Saints didn't want him back or anything like that. It was that I couldn't fathom the idea of Dennis Allen being a one and done. So even with some of the early season struggles, when we started hearing Sean Payton do interviews and reports come out about the possibility of Payton coaching next year and his desire to coach next year, I emotionally was at a point where I had separated from Sean Payton. I just realized super grateful for the 16 years, bringing respect, credibility, a winning culture to New Orleans, the first ever Super Bowl championship, so many great Sundays, and super grateful for it, but understanding that the time had come and Payton will coach somewhere else. And I'm okay with that. And for this franchise right now, what I want is the draft capital. That had always been my stance. Because the Saints have a coach. I don't want to, this isn't exactly apples to apples, but it's like when sometimes you hear LSU fans talk about Nick Saban going to Alabama. Well, the LSU job wasn't open. He took the best job available. It's a similar situation. The Saints job isn't open. So Sean Payton was always going to come back and coach, but he's going to coach somewhere else where they have an opening. But with every loss, it's more and more of a possibility that the Saints could move on from Dennis Allen. It's something that I have flatly said I endorse at this point. And y'all know I'm not fire the coach guy. I've never been fire the coach guy. But what I do know is, and I believe, is the New Orleans Saints are not going to win anything of significance for as long as Dennis Allen is their coach. He's not a general. He can't do this job. Great defensive coordinator, by all accounts, a great guy who's liked and respected, and all that, and it's just wonderful. But not every lieutenant's meant to be a general. That's Dennis Allen, from my view. So now you're sitting here you're creating new ways to lose. You blow up a 2-touchdown lead on Monday Night Football, which for all intents and purposes ends your season. You're going to play out the string over these final 4 games. And the question is, how bad can it get? You're playing Atlanta and a rookie quarterback. You're at Cleveland, at Philly, against Deshaun Watson, and then against the best team in the NFL, the Eagles. And then you're hoping against Carolina, which controls its destiny in the NFC South. If you lose out here, and you finish the season on a 6-game losing streak, and you finish 4-13, you got to fire him. Because the situation he inherited wasn't bad enough that there is any justification for winning 4 games. Or honestly, winning 5 or 6 games with this team. You had a better quarterback situation this year than you did a year ago, even with the injuries. You were better at, you remember, like, Marquez Callaway was your number 1 receiver a year ago. Marquez Callaway was your number 1 receiver a year ago. You're healthier. You've had better weapons, better options this year than you did a year ago. And even his defense, Dennis Allen's defense, his defense stunk for the first half of this year. As his defense. So, yeah. I think you're at a point where there's a real possibility, depending on how the next 4 weeks go, regardless of what Mrs. Benson and Mickey Loomis have as their standard operating procedure, that if this gets bad enough, you get to a point where you have to move on from him. And if Sean Payton is a legit option, remember, the Saints do retain his rights for the next 2 years. Why not have a reunion? He is an organization builder. I'll tell you this. The situation that Sean Payton inherited in 2006 was devastatingly worse than this one. He didn't have a quarterback then either. The roster was a mess. You were a vagabond team. You didn't even know if you had a building to play in or a city to come home to. And look what he did. He can do it again. Rested, recharged, ready to roll. I would even submit that if he's legitimately interested in taking the Saints job again, I don't care what happens the next 4 games. Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame coach who would want to coach your team again. You let the Hall of Fame coach your team again, regardless of the cost, because you'll make it up with winning. Hadn't considered it because I didn't think Dennis Allen, there was a realistic possibility he could be a one and done. That's a realistic possibility now. And so too is Sean Payton returning to New Orleans. I'm not saying it's likely. What I am saying is it's possible. It's plausible. And with every Saints loss, you get closer and closer to that becoming a reality. Let's see where the conversation is a week from today after the Saints host a rookie quarterback making his first start in the Dome. See how that one goes. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.